So the Packers pull off the victory, beating the Steelers 35-25. Jordan Love beats Aaron Rodgers, and that was one of Jordan Love's best games of his entire career, going for 29 of 37, 360 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions, a 134.2 passer rating. And I think looking at the Packers' schedule this year, right when it came out, this was that one game where it's like, man, I cannot wait for this game to take place, to get to witness Jordan Love face off against Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. And this game in the first half, it was a pretty poor showing from the Packers. They're outscored 16-7. It would have been a lot closer if McManus did not miss those 2 field goals. He did. And so because of that, it was not a super close game after the first half. The offense couldn't really get things going. The defense was having a lot of issues in the first half. But then the second half, the Packers come in and absolutely dominate. 28 points in the second half after 7 points. In the first half, they outscore the Steelers 28-9 in the second half. And so in this one, Aaron Rodgers, he had a pretty fine day. 24 of 36, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, a 101.5 passer rating. But there's no doubt that Jordan Love outplayed Aaron Rodgers in this one. The Packers offense, because of the second half, they just really got things going in a big way. And you have Tucker Kraft on National Tight Ends Day having one of the best days of his career, 7 receptions, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, and they put up the stat on the broadcast, I think like 130 or so yards of the 143 were after the catch. And so, Tucker Kraft has been a very reliable receiving threat here in Green Bay, and tonight we saw just how dominant he can be. And so to have all the weapons the Packers have now with Christian Watson back healthy, also him having a big day, 4 receptions for 85 yards. You have that one big play where Jordan Love sort of just throws it up to him as he's trying to escape the pocket. And so to have him already producing in his first game back, that was great to see. You have Dobbs making some plays. Malik Heath, Emmanuel Wilson having a pretty solid day as well. And so it was good to see the Packers get things back on track in the second half after things did not look very good in the first half. And so considering, McManus missed 2 of those field goals, this would have been a 41-point outing by this Packers offense. And the Steelers defense this year, they have a ton of really good players. They have a great defensive line. They have, Jalen Ramsey in the secondary. And this has, though, been an inconsistent Steelers defense. And the Packers, to put up 35, that was a great showing, especially considering most of it came in the second half. And so I feel like for Jordan Love, you could tell how, he takes every game seriously, and he's always locked in and focused. But it felt like there was like another level that he got to in this game. And it feels like it was because he was playing Aaron Rodgers, and they talked about it during the game about how, sort of one way you can get out of the shadow of the mentor in front of you, the guy in front of you, like Rodgers, is to beat him. And so Jordan Love does that here today, beating Aaron Rodgers. And, it really does feel like in Jordan Love's 3rd season now in Green Bay, he's really taking his game to another level from what we saw in his first 2 years starting. Because his first 2 years, he was very, very good. There were just some issues with inconsistency. There were moments where he'd go through stretches of playing really clean football, then you go through those moments where he has a few, really bad decisions, and quarterbacks are going to make bad decisions, but you don't want to see them happen consistently. And I think so far this season, we have seen Jordan Love take that next step where he is playing very consistent football. He is a much more accurate quarterback than he was the past 2 seasons. And so you can really see that development really showing up right now in his 3rd season. And to beat Aaron Rodgers, the guy who he sat behind for years, the guy who he learned behind, it definitely is a big moment for Jordan Love to come in and play as good as he did. And then also, I think he had 20 consecutive completed passes, which they said tied Brett Favre's record from, I think, 2007. And so to do that as well, it was just, the day could not have gone better for Jordan Love in this one. And so you have to give a ton of credit to Love. And now with this Packers team sitting at 5-1-1, the Packers have all the pieces necessary to be a legit playoff contender, a team that can go deep in the playoffs, that has a chance to win a Super Bowl. If Jordan Love is playing like this, then this Packers team 100% can do that. And then you have, Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary in the second half when, the Steelers are trying to get back into the game after the Packers start to get up. You have Micah Parsons getting a sack. You have Rashawn Gary getting a sack. And so it was nice to see the Packers, sort of fight in the second half and get back in this one and come out on top in a in a big way. And, looking at that first half, defensively, you have Keyshawn Nixon. He had a rough first half. He has that one play, I think it was like a 45-yard pass from Rodgers. He sort of loses his guy. He has then like 2 different penalties. I think one's a holding, one's defensive pass interference. Then he has the DK Metcalf. I think it was like a little slant touchdown. And so it was a rough first half for Keyshawn Nixon, but it seemed like the second half, the Packers defensively held up very nicely. They had only allowed 3 points till near the end of that second half. And so it was good to see them after the first half. They were having some issues. They were holding the Steelers to field goals, which was a good thing in the first half. But the second half, they really got things cleaned up. They played much better football. And I think one big bright spot on this defense today was Carrington Valentine. Now, he wasn't perfect. There are a few moments that he wasn't in a perfect situation there. But for the most part, he played a very, very good game. I thought that, with Nate Hobbs struggling last week, I was curious to see if they would keep him out there or would they potentially try out Valentine. And they tried Valentine out there tonight, and he played very, very good. He had a lot of passes where, there's that one, I think it's either first or second quarter, where DK Metcalf is about to score. Valentine goes in there, deflects the pass near the end, and that was a massive play in this game. And so it looks like right now Valentine is playing really good. The Packers should keep him out there. I love Valentine's intensity. Every time he does something, he brings that energy to the defense, and I like what he brings. And so it was good to see him out there playing really good football. And the Steelers, they ran the ball pretty effectively. 5.2 yards a carry. They were running more in the first half. When they start to, get down in the second half, they have to try to, pass the ball more. They have a few penalties, puts them in rough positions. And because of how fast this Packers pass rush, gets to opposing quarterbacks, you could tell that especially in the second half when Rodgers was having to sit back there a while. He was trying to get the ball out very quickly because he could tell, Parsons was coming, Rashawn Gary was coming, and he didn't really have a ton of time to sit back there, especially on some of those, second and longs, third and longs. That's just a tough spot for any opposing quarterback to be in because of how quickly the Packers defensive line is able to get to the quarterback. And so, once again, we see this Packers defensive line come through in a big way. Last week against the Cardinals, Micah Parsons had some really big sacks near the end of that game, which helped the Packers secure that win. And the same thing happened here today with the Packers getting consistent pressure on Rodgers there in the second half where, on a third and long, basically they don't have enough time to, get the ball past the first down. So that was good to see. And, looking at the Packers forced one turnover in this one, and there was a fumble there near the end by Kenneth Gainwell. And the Packers this season haven't forced that many turnovers, and so it was good to see the Packers do that there today. And so I think all in all, now for this Packers team sitting at 5-1-1, the Steelers are a pretty good team. Now they're not an elite team, I would say, but they're a good team. When you have Aaron Rodgers, you have a defense that can get a lot of sacks, force a lot of pressures. They're still a competitive team, I would say, and I feel like they're going to make the playoffs in my mind. They could win the AFC North, we'll see. But, the fact Jordan Love was not sacked one time, they were definitely getting pressure at times, and I think we saw tonight Jordan Love's his ability to escape the pocket, his ability to scramble and make those sort of off-platform throws, and they were talking about it on the broadcast a lot where he's just sort of slinging it up there and making the type of throws that lots of quarterbacks are not able to make. You have that one to Tucker Kraft where I don't know how he got that one off. Kraft catches it, runs as he does, and picks up a lot more yards. And so I think that the best thing from tonight is seeing just how dominant Jordan Love was. And if we can see this game in and game out, not necessarily just like this, but this type level of play come playoff time, that's really what you want to see from Jordan Love. And when you combine the defensive line, Micah Parsons, it does feel like this is a team that has a chance to do something special come playoff time. And that was obviously the hope when you trade for Micah Parsons. And you're going to have games where things don't go perfectly. There are moments where things don't go perfectly. But it's like, how do you respond? The Packers responded well in the second half. They fixed things defensively for the most part. The offense goes on a run. And so that's what you want to have. You want to have a team that, things could go poorly in a quarter, a half, whatever it may be. But, can you respond and not get stuck in a place where you're like, oh man, we're down, this isn't good, and sort of get stuck there, which can happen. And the Packers didn't do that tonight. So those are my thoughts. If you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.